So there's a couple things I just need to go. I'm just gonna go over. I'm always waiting for your.
Remind those who to thank and stuff.
Call to order the council meeting of November 15th, 2016. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
A quorum is present.
Any persons wishing to address the City Council, Successor Aging Housing Authority, Finance Authority, and would you call those to order, Madam
A
Clerk?
quorum is present.
On the agenda may do so at this time.
Good afternoon, Leroy Fisher, the First District. I wanted to ask you guys some questions, and to begin with regard to item number 2 on the consent calendar. You know, it's concerning to me that you guys didn't put out an RFP. You know, you keep spending monies of the general fund, and I don't know why you wouldn't put out an RFP for that. Maybe you could get somebody to do it cheaper, and you know, rather than just handing out monies as you do. So that's a concern to me. With regard to O2, you know, I was wondering, you just finished a budget, you know, a general fund budget. And why now would you come with a salary ordinance that you could have had in the budget after, you know, you have already put a budget in place? You know, it seemed to me that it would have been a good idea to have this salary ordinance for however you are proposing to do this within that budget. And that's kind of concerning to me, and it ought to be to others in this city. And finally, with regard to A2 and this Inglewood city charter supposedly changed for the school board, I'd like to have an oral report on that, if you'd be so good. It, you know, concerns me that, I don't know, maybe the school board has asked you to make some changes or whatever, but I'd just like for you to report to this community with regard to what your decisions or plans are to change those voting restrictions.
My name is Diane Sembrano, and I too am concerned with O2, and that is a staff report recommending the introduction of the salary ordinances. it doesn't seem to have all of the all of the salaries, but just selected ones, which you are changing. There is no comparative or no reason as to why. I would think that you might want to take that into careful consideration, considering one of our former employees was a focus of all of Southern California topic last night with regard to her salary. And I think that you should be concerned that you don't look as unwise as they do. Of course, anyone who wants to go on Transparent California can find out how pathetic we look already, and we can see how sad it is that you tend to cut back on the people who make minimum income while you give salary increases to the top 10% as it is already. When we have as many people getting overtime dollars, benefit packages, and at least one person who essentially has not got a significant great deal of job responsibility and skill set, making $250,000, that is an insult to everyone in this community who struggles to make ends meet. If Stan Kroenke wants to pay everybody those kinds of salaries out of his budget, he's more than welcome to do that out of a personal or a corporate entity. But this is a public entity. Public servants should not be making significantly greater dollars than their counterparts in other cities.
My name is Willie A.G. I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood, California. I want to speak on A2. When I moved to Inglewood 53 years ago, we had the best school system in the South Bay, and that's a fact. And now, the way that I'm looking at it, it's the worst. I don't know what this is all about, but what I'm really concerned about, these kids in the city of Inglewood be able to get quality educations, you know. Seem like to me most of the kids have left the district and gone other places, you know, so the city don't have as many kids as they used to, and I don't think they really need all the schools that they have. I would suggest that they sell some of these schools and bring it back down to a smaller area, or else let the city take over the school district if they're not able to run it the way it's supposed to be run. It's all about these kids in the city of Inglewood. That's what's important. All this other stuff, I know exactly what's been going on. Believe me, I can go from back 52 years ago all right up to 9. I know what happened to the school district, and it's a disgrace. We got thousands of jobs right out here, but we don't have anybody in Inglewood that's been trained to do the work. So they have to go out someplace else, get other people to do the work. You have to teach people how to do the work that one day you might have. There's plenty of jobs here, but show me the people that's qualified to do it that lives in the city of Inglewood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Close public comment. Item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register.
Allow payment.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council and agency members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin. Mayor Chairman Butts.
Aye. M1.
Approval of the minutes of the city council meeting for October 4th and October 11th, 2016.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin. Mayor Butts.
Aye. Consent calendar items 2 and 3.
Move
Second.
item 3.
Pull item 2 and 3.
No, he pulled 2, moved 3. Madam Clerk.
Oh, I need a second for the.
Council member.
Second.
I'm sorry.
Okay. First, second.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin. Mayor Butts.
Aye. Quick comment. This was an emergency replacement, and that's why there's no RFP done, because it was an emergency.
No, there was an RFP.
No, item 3, I said was an emergency replacement of the main circuit breaker. Mr. Fisher asked why we didn't put it out to RFP.
Talking about number 2.
Oh, okay, but that's my mistake.
No, he's answering a public
A
question.
question.
And you are commenting
Yes.
on item 2, so go ahead and call 2 so he could comment.
I will, but that was my
Yeah.
comment, was the reason we didn't go to RFP for number 3
Right.
is because there was an emergency. Now, would you read item 2, Madam Clerk?
Sure. Staff report recommending approval of a 2-year
Oh,
multiple
okay.
vendor agreement for
Okay.
vehicle maintenance and repairs in an annual amount of $300,000.
Second.
Please.
I just want, Mayor, my notes reflect that.
Well, then that's my error.
Number 2, businesses, that's, was a request for proposal.
Okay, all right. All right.
Council members Dotson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin, Mayor Buds.
Aye. Then that's what confused me, because I knew that one went out to
Good,
bid.
because we're looking pretty confused.
Yeah, I couldn't understand why he was talking about that one, because it went out to bid. All right, my bad.
Doesn't have it off it to us.
My bad. 01,
Staff report recommending adoption of ordinance number 1704, granting a franchise to Torrance Valley Pipeline Company LLC to operate and maintain a pipeline and appurtenances for the transmission of hydrocarbon substances in the city of Inglewood.
Motion to waive further reading.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dotson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin. Mayor Buds.
Aye, 02.
Move adoption of 1. Second, I'll second Ralph's
Okay,
motion.
motion to waive further reading is who?
Now,
We're right here.
we're adopting the ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. Number 2, and Madam Clerk?
Count, I got it, thank you. Council members Dotson,
Aye.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin. Mayor Buds.
Aye, 02.
Staff report recommending introduction of the salary ordinance for the fiscal year 2016-17.
Motion to waive further reading.
Second. Madam Clerk?
Council members Dotson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin. Mayor Buds.
Aye.
I'll introduce it.
Thank you.
Finally got one right. SPH 1?
Staff report requesting that a public hearing be set to consider vacating street easements, segments of Redondo Boulevard, Cable Place, and a portion of Florence Avenue.
Move adoption of the resolution to intent the street segments.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dotson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin. Mayor Buds.
Aye. Set the public hearing for December 6th at 2 p.m. and I'll move item 3.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dotson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin. Mayor Buds.
Aye. A1?
Thank you, Mayor. As to the closed session CS1, which was a conference with the legal counsel regarding real property negotiations, the under negotiation parties was Hal and Dr. Betty Walker. For the city negotiator was Artie Fields, and the property is located at 101 South La Brea Avenue. As to that item, there was no discussion held. As to item number CS2, which was a closed session regarding workers' compensation claim of Christopher Beckman, there's a request for settlement in that matter.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dotson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
And I'm sorry, in the absence of the mayor, I'll be calling for the question. And he's back now. So we will move forward to item A2.
Staff report recommending adoption of a resolution placing a measure on the April 4th, 2017 ballot for the purpose of submitting to the electors of the Inglewood Unified School District Advisory Board of Education a proposal to amend Article 26 of the Inglewood City Charter relating to the method of election for the Board of Education.
A brief discussion. This was requested by the school district. It deals with having school elections be done according to districts, as we do council districts as opposed to citywide. And if Dr. Matthews, I see that he's in the audience, If you wanted to speak to it, you could, or if you just wanted to see it pass, that's good too.
I'd like to speak.
All right, good.
And I would just briefly like to speak to it because I know it's going to be kind of a sensitive issue, but the truth is it's been going on up and down the state of California, and breaking up school districts into districts is something that's becoming more common, and the reason that it's doing that is because to make the school board as diverse as the current population within the schools. That's something that, although we've done a pretty good job of kind of being connected to the community, it's part of what the goal is, and I support that intention. But, more so than that, I'd like to give kudos to the school district who really came up with it on their own. I haven't approached them at all, at least the current school board, and they did that. So I just want to say that I'm impressed with that, and I support it. Thank you.
And also, there's certain liability attached to continuing as we have been. There have been districts that have been sued by at-large voting because
Correct.
the tendency is that tends to freeze out smaller populations, but that are heavily represented in a smaller district. And so there are a number of reasons to do this, and not the least of which is, liability avoidance, but first and foremost for fairness. And so that's,
So I will move adoption.
Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin. Mayor Buds.
Aye, A3,
Thank you, Mayor. There's no oral reports from the city attorney's office.
CM1.
There are no oral reports from the city manager's office.
Madam City Clerk, CC1.
No verbal reports. Thank you, Mayor.
CT1, CSA2, H2, and F1.
A monthly treasurer's report for the month ending September 30th, 2016.
Receive and file, CT2.
Brief treasury report as of September 30th, 2016, and the funds under management for the city of Inglewood is $73,881,781, and the interest gross investment interest earnings has been $32,493. Successor agency total cash and investments $97,909,291, and the debt service interest earning is $13,501, Housing Authority, $101,371, and the Public Finance Authority, $13,536,538, and the debt service interest earning is $2,293. Total funds under management is $185,428,981. And again, there are copies of this report on the table outside that you can follow along. And also I'd like to report that I did buy 2 bonds, had roughly about 12 million of bonds that have been called. So these are bonds that are generally called before they mature, primarily due to a change in interest rate. As interest rates go up, rather than pay the city more interest, they will call these bonds, you see. So anyhow, I did purchase 1 bond from Cantella at Fannie Mae because rates are going up since the election at 1.875, and also bought a Wedbush also early this afternoon it's a Freddie Mac at 1.95 because the bonds had been hovered around about 1.50. That concludes my report and my remarks.
Thank you very much, Madam City Treasurer. Any persons wish to address the council on any matter connected with city business not elsewhere considered may do so at this time. 1 minute, please.
Listen, concerned again about all these marijuana businesses coming to Inglewood. I heard Mr. Franklin recently talk about him trying to get involved in the one on 111th and Crenshaw 110th, whichever it is. I heard you say, too, that they had stopped using that little cross at night. That's not so. I was down there watching the fight the other night, and I saw that thing big and bold. We have this ordinance, and for whatever reason, you then continue to allow these marijuana shops to open in these districts. I know of 3 here already, and there's probably more. There's probably more. We have this ordinance. I don't care how many people smoke marijuana. We in the city had said no to it, and that's what it ought to be. You need to get involved. You need to stop it. You need to stop it.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Well, I would thank you if you got involved and try to stop it.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Hi, my name's Joy Kennelly. I'm here on behalf of Lali Ramazani. She's the owner of Always Best Care Senior Services. We service the beach cities, including Inglewood, Lenox, Hawthorne, Gardena, etc. And we just wanted to let your community know that we exist. We do service SSI clients. We can help them get into assisted living situations. We also offer non-medical, licensed, bonded, insured, in-home care. And I do have brochures that, if I could, would like to pass out. And our contact information is on the back. So thank you for your time. This has been very interesting. And I wish you all a very good afternoon.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council, Mayor. My name is Ed Edwards. I'm a resident of Regency Towers in Inglewood. The last few weeks, we've been having large amount of gang violence, gunshots in the area of Locust and Region. First incident happened right after the Kanye West concert, where he walked off the stage and a number of gunshots were heard up and down Regent around the CVS department store. The seniors are becoming very uncomfortable with all the homelessness in the area, with people sleeping at the bus stops and begging for money around Queen Street and, of course, CVS. We would like for you to take time out and look into this matter as soon as possible. We've had a number of gunshots on Locust and Regent in the hours of 11 and 12 at night. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Diane Sombrano. Mr. Matthews, I didn't see you sitting there. I couldn't figure out why they were behaving so differently than normal. But I do want to say, what an interesting concept. Last meeting that you decided that you said, some of you, that because you didn't drink beer, you didn't know about the bar that had been in existence since 1976. That really frightens me, that as a police officer and someone who has lived in this city for most of their life, and others of you who I'm sure have gone up and down Arborvitae, you did not know a bar existed. That is pretty incredible, because I think there's probably not a woman on this city who doesn't know where there's a barber shop. The people who don't know where some things are can actually look at a sign. If you went to that much trouble to close down a bar, I would hope that you could fulfill the ordinance of the marijuana shops. Don't expect it, but I would hope that you think you will look foolish if you don't.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
My name is Willie A.G. I'm really concerned about the school district. 4.5 years ago, this city was about to go under, and we elected the right man to run it. And look at it today. I don't know anything about the leadership of the school
He's
district.
a leader right there, so be careful.
Well, then
So be polite.
I am very unhappy the way the school district is going now. I know the school district can do better, but you got to get right with the union. You got to get the right people on the board to represent. These kids in Inglewood can do a lot better, believe me. Open these classes back up at Morningside and Inglewood High, where they teach kids how to do plumbing work, electrical work, and all that stuff. They've been closed for years. There's no excuse for that. I'd like to see the school right in front of the Forum. I'd like to see sell it and make a lot of money and build a new school at Morningside or Inglewood High.
Thank you, Mr. A.G.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council and staff, and
See you, Mr. Davis.
likewise, and thank you, Mr. H. That's an excellent segue. The news about voting via district for the schools is a great idea. We need hands-on. We need to have the destiny of our children in our hands, not, unions and whatnot. I mean, I want to remind everybody the biggest delegate block at the Democrat National Convention is always the teachers' union. They have failed abysmally. Our students have an 82% failure rate. They found fit to fire 2 teachers out of 45,000, I believe it was 2014. That's insanity. But I got 12 seconds left. I'm gonna say this quickly. I might take a little time. We just had an election. Dave Chappelle speaks for me. Said, give him a chance. Let's give him one. But let's demand he gives us a chance. But I'm gonna add something other than what Dave Chappelle says. We must give ourselves a chance. We've been dancing to the same music for 50 years. You've got to go off that Kool-Aid and give yourselves a chance. And if it doesn't work, in 4 years, same as it ever was. Good luck. Let's roll up our sleeves and get busy. We can be the greatest city in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Close public comment. Are there any council comments?
Yeah,
Councilman Dodson.
the gentleman that came up to speak for Regency Towers, I'd like to see you before you leave, please. Okay, and then I wanted to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor, but I thought we already closed one of those marijuana clinics on Manchester.
Actually, you're absolutely right. The one at 420 West Manchester was just closed. So that people understand, again, for the 15th time, this is not a criminal violation. It's a business code violation. The sale of medical marijuana is legal in the state of California. And here in the city of Inglewood, we've passed an ordinance that says that it cannot be dispensed except in an inpatient facility. And so to prove that, we have to prove things in this country. We can't just see a green cross on a building and close the building down. We have to prove things. And the methodology to prove it takes somewhere between sometimes 90, as long as 180 days. But eventually, they're all closed. The reality is that it's a very lucrative business. It's very tempting, and people take risks, but it's not like a crime in progress that you can just say there's a green cross on a building, you can close it down. Sophisticated people tend to understand that. But the reality is every single one eventually is closed. The proposition is just passed not only makes use of medicinal marijuana legal, it makes recreational marijuana use legal. And so we're going to have to pass an ordinance to regulate that as well. So the city council has taken a position, but we're dealing with substances that are legal but can be regulated. Councilman Padilla? Or were you finished?
I got
were
some
you,
time left.
You got some time? I thought I used it all up. That was
They cut it. They knew you was going to be long, so that
was the purpose. Go ahead. Go ahead, George. Fight for your time. Fight the power, George.
Look, I really want to, I asked the mayor there because I knew he would elaborate on it. We have too many people go out of this councilman with the wrong idea. So he did exactly what I thought he would do. For the school district, I'm glad to see that you came in, and I know that you are trying to do it right now. I think this will make a difference in who you get on the board, and I think that will make a difference in the school district. So kudos to you for that. And I'd like to thank all you people for coming out when we have our council meeting. It makes a difference when we know and we can see that you are involved in our government. So please keep coming. Thank you for coming, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Councilman Padilla, District 2.
There you go. Thank you, Mayor. Last week I had an opportunity to attend a block club meeting in the 1000 block of Eastside Park Boulevard, very well attended by residents in that area, to talk about some of their concerns and then for me to discuss what the city's doing as we move forward. So it's just a good opportunity to engage with the residents and to hear their thoughts and to reestablish that communication that is so important between the city government and the residents that at times they feel, like they didn't get all the information or left out. But once we meet and we talk about the avenues of how they can connect with city staff, they walk around or walk away feeling much better about what's happening in the city of Inglewood. This weekend, we had open studios, the art galleries all over the city of Inglewood. Great opportunity. I saw some really nice artwork, got to meet with the artist. So I want to thank all the folks, Parks and Recreation staff, everybody else, whoever, I'm sure I'm leaving folks out, for putting together such a wonderful open studios. For tomorrow at 9 o'clock at the library, there's a business and online resources seminar being put together. So if you're looking to improve your business and want to see what type of city resources are available for you, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock at the library, there will be a presentation done. With that, thank you for coming out. And again, school district support you 100% in what you're doing, and keep moving forward. Thank you.
Councilman Franklin, District 4.
Security. And Boulevard. On that, we addressed issues regarding traffic, we addressed issues regarding quality of life issues, as well as addressing the areas of homelessness, prostitution, all these different items were addressed. Lane is the one to help facilitate and coordinate that. We're gearing up for the new developments, but also we're gearing up for the current operations into the holidays.
Councilman Morales, District 3.
Thank you. First, just like to congratulate all of the artists. The Open Studios event, the weekend that we hold now, it started with maybe 9 open studios many years ago, and then they came to the city and asked for the shuttles and the parking spaces, and they did all the work. It expanded, but the significance of having artists open up their studios and do their work here, many of whom teach at the Otis Art School, some at UCLA, they show in galleries all across California. It's an amazing example of where we're headed as a city, and we always point that out, but having artists here, an artist community, is such a big step in our progress, and it's so important at a time like this, the election we just had for the presidential election, which of course is so far from where we're sitting right now, but as a city that there was a lot of different descriptions about a black and a brown and a minority community during the election for the last year or so. And we have this huge opportunity to be an example to the rest of the country because we are a very proud city. We are a city full of resources. We have a very strong potential, which we're going to reach. And I know we do have a lot of work to do with our school district, but I also know that there's a lot of strong points. Our elementary schools have always been extremely strong. The parents love them, and am I right? It's still very strong at that level. There are some things that we need to straighten out, which are big steps that we have to do. But we also need to point out the strong parts, just to give hope to the folks that are actually attending it. I was speaking to a group of folks a while back, a couple of months ago, and they were concerned about their school district because their children are attending it, and they hear all these bad things about it. So I tried to point out all the positive things, because it's all about encouraging them and what they're dealing with and how hopeful we are all being. So this is one big step. This is one big step where we're showing our leadership in terms of change, and I think it's great. So I just wanted to point that out, and have a nice Thanksgiving.
I also wanted to applaud the school district for being proactive in dealing with the issue of districting. It's going to be a little bit difficult to figure out how they're going to set these districts, but I want to say this. Dr. Matthews, how long have you been at the state administrator for the district right now? 1 year. Okay, in 1 year as mayor here, I was miserable. In fact, I lost the hair in the back of my head, and I had to cut it off. Today, I cut it off. But anyway, what I wanted to tell you was that big boats turn slow. And I believe that Dr. Matthews is definitely the person to turn this boat around. He's got a lot of major challenges ahead of him yet, but he has been, we've had 1, 2, 3, I think he's the 4th state administrator in less 3 years, 4 years, in 4 years. And in him I see the most promise. And I also wanted to tell you that we came from, similar commentary to I was invited to speak on a panel for economic development in Los Angeles this morning at the Biltmore Millennium Hotel downtown, and I'm asked to speak weekly at different forums on development and the future of the region and the county. And people sit in rapt attention to hear the things we have to say about our plans and progress. And I have to be careful, because anything I might hint at, people scurry out of the room and they start calling people, and they get calls. They say you're going to do this, and it's amazing. So right now we're a nationally recognized city, and I believe that you're going to give us a nationally recognized school district. And I want you to know that we are here to support you, to support the district, and we will do everything we can to be assistance to you. With that, we're adjourned.